On the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, my father's brother-in-arms pushed photos of his daughters in front of me and told me to choose a fiancé. Without hesitation, I picked the photo of the eldest daughter, Yvonne Shaw. Everyone around me stared in shock. They all knew that I was deeply in love with the second daughter, Natalie Shaw. In my previous life, I had chased after Natalie for 10 years before finally marrying her. Through our marriage, she became the heiress of the Shaw family. But 3 years after we got married, she became pregnant with my brother's child. Our parents were furious. They forced her to get an abortion and sent my brother away. From then on, Natalie hated me to the core. Every night, she would bring home men who looked like my brother and spend the night with them. The constant torment wore me down, and I eventually fell gravely ill and died a miserable death. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to that night when I had to choose a fiancé. This time, I chose to let them be together. But what I did not expect was that Natalie had been reborn too. The Shaw sisters had been waiting outside the room. With an unspoken understanding, they nudged Natalie Shaw toward me. "Well, Cole, you've been chasing after Natalie since you were a kid. Guess you finally got what you wanted, huh? Tisk, TSK. You're the eldest son of the Franklin family. Do you really have to be this desperate?" Natalie crossed her arms and stared at me in mockery. "So, you've set your sights on me, huh? I know our parents have talked about this marriage, but I'd advise you not to get your hopes up. If your family's offer doesn't meet my expectations, I won't marry you." Her voice was cold and disdainful. Her self-serving attitude was exactly the same as in the previous life. My love had never meant anything to her. I looked at her and said indifferently, "Natalie, you're not the only daughter in the Shaw family." Her arrogance dropped a notch as soon as I said that. Confused glances passed between the sisters. Our family's friendship dated back to the founding of the nation. They had made a pact that the next generation would unite the family through marriage. As the engagement did not happen in our parents' generation, it was passed down to us. The Shaw family even declared that whoever married me would inherit the family legacy. After a beat of silence, Natalie let out a soft chuckle. "Cole, you seriously think that weak attempt would get to me?" The Shaw sisters recovered from their brief pause and chuckled with her. "Natalie, our family business will reach new heights with you at the helm. Just don't forget about us when you're running the show." Natalie basked in their flattery with a smug grin plastered across her face. After a while, she cast me a dismissive glance. "You've spent 10 years chasing after me. Who else would even want you? Let me make one thing clear." She gestured for the other Shaw sisters to leave the room. "To avoid repeating the same mistakes, I'll marry you. But my heart belongs to Matthew. As long as you stay out of our way, I'll let you have the title and honor of being my husband in name." My eyes widened in shock at those words. In the previous life, she had hidden it too well. She had never dared say something like that outright. Had she been reborn, too? Just as I hesitated to ask, a figure approached us. "Cole, what are you and Natalie doing standing here?" Matthew Franklin was talking to me, but his gaze was fixed on Natalie. Natalie's eyes instantly welled up with tears. She turned around and threw herself into Matthew's arms. Then, she cooed in a tone I had never heard her use before. "Matthew, what are you doing here?" Matthew was stunned for a second before he wrapped his arms around her even tighter. He shot me a taunting look and tried to sound flustered. "Natalie, you're Cole's fiancée. This isn't proper." Natalie snorted. "Nothing about this is improper. If he blames you, he can forget about marrying me." With that, she grabbed Matthew's hand without hesitation and walked away. I rubbed the photo of Yvonne Shaw in my hand and sneered. "Natalie, I was never going to marry you anyway." The coming-of-age ceremony was nearing its end. Most of the guests had left when Natalie and Matthew finally reappeared. Natalie had changed into a high-neck gown, while faint, suggestive marks adorned Matthew's neck. The air between them was so thick with intimacy that one could almost smell it. The old me would have stormed up to them in a fit of rage and confronted them. However, I had seen this play out countless times in my past life. I was numb to it. I tipped my head back and drained my glass of wine. Then, I turned to leave. When Natalie saw my indifference, she frowned. For the first time, she called out to me, "Cole, what's with the attitude? I'm your fiancé, and Matthew